Hey, what's up YouTube? This is We All Juggle Knives with another knife review. Now this knife has micarta handle scales and a true full tang. Alright, you see the lanyard hole there. And that micarta is smooth and comfortable. The blade length, 5 inches, 1/4 inch thick. They're saying it's D2 tool steel. Now the brand here is GCS Custom. Now it's a production knife, okay, it's not a custom. But I guess the idea of these knives is that really nice production knives that are going to be more affordable than if it was a custom knife. This was $65 on Amazon. I will include a link to whatever they have on there, when I'm making this. They only sell 1 or 2 of each model at a time, right? So this might be sold out, but you will find something because they have basically a wide variety. This was one of the best models that I found that they had. This is the second GCS knife that I've tried. There you see it next to the first GCS knife that I tried. I will include a link to the video review of that knife. Like with any brand, I try to choose like the top 10% of what they have to offer. These two knives right here, they seem to me to be not only attractive designs, but also efficient and functional designs, and that's why I chose them. Doing stuff. Here it is batoning. Now, it's only a 5-inch blade, so you can't really baton anything that's too thick, but in the interest of thoroughness, if you wanted to baton some moderately sized pieces of firewood, it can certainly do that. Full tang, 1/4 inch thick. That one had a knot in it, but I found it very efficient for splitting the wood. And later in the demo, we're going to make a fire. Yes, I always love watching like a knife review or bushcraft video where they make the fire. Now this knife has a convex grind into just a conventional edge. Right? In other words, the relief grind is not convex, but just the grind before the edge bevel is. I hope that's clear. So here you see us making shavings, and we're actually going to use the shavings this time. That should be quite exciting. Alright, so as you watch me use the knife, I will just talk a little more about it. It's a 1/4 inch thick, and a lot of people feel that a 1/4 inch is too thick for a bushcraft knife. If you feel that way, you can just call it a camp knife or a survival knife. I don't really care what you label the knife. But yeah, it is true. A thinner knife like the many Mora bushcraft models are a little bit easier to make shavings with. This was slightly awkward to make shavings with, but it's a review. You got to show it doing something, and in a pinch it could make shavings. It's really up to you what you want to use this knife for. I will show you the knife and some of its capabilities, and you can decide from there. But these GCS knives, they're made in the UK. Officially made in the UK. But some or all of the knife may be made in Pakistan. That's what I found just doing research around the internet. Now, I have no proof of that, okay? Some of their lineup does have some design features that look like they were made in Pakistan, or maybe the blanks were made there and they're assembled in the UK. But that does not mean it's a bad knife. Not at all. Oh, here's the fire. I'm using my Schrade. That's just the free Schrade fire starter that you get. But it works pretty good. It was very windy that day. And there you go with the fire. Pretty cool. Now, my hand was killing me that day. I got arthritis that flares up once in a while. So shout out to all the campers and bushcrafters that are getting older. Anybody else have arthritis when you hold the freaking ferro rod? I need like a 2-foot long ferro rod. It'd be a lot more comfortable. But it only flares up occasionally. Okay, so there is the fire. I know you can't even take all the survival skills that are demonstrated here. Alright, but back to the knife. What do I think of it? It's a really nice knife for $65. Obviously, it's more on the durable side, like more on the survival-ish side, being a 1/4 inch thick, the true full tang. I like the micarta. It's smooth and comfortable for prolonged use. I imagine if you had to process a giant caribou like I saw in one of those, you ever see those Alaska survival shows? Yeah, it takes them a while to chop up and slice up that caribou. But I imagine it would be quite comfortable in prolonged use. Now, the initial sharpness on this, it wasn't that good. The first GCS knife I had, if you watch that video, that thing was razor sharp. I mean, yes, I understand that that's a figure of speech, of course, but the first GCS knife I got, it would cut like, it basically cut like a much thinner, high-quality folder would cut. But this one, the edge just was not as good. I did sharpen it like halfway through this demo because, well, at first when I tried to start the fire, I had this other ferro rod that wasn't really working that great, and I did use the just the first little half inch of the edge on a ferro rod, and it kind of dulled that part, so I just resharpened that whole thing and started over. So yeah, I did resharpen it. Oh, here I am carving a very pointy, well, it's going to be a very pointy steak when I'm done. I did speed up this footage just because it's pretty boring just woodpeckering a little piece of firewood. But the point is you can make a piece of a trap or a punji steak, if you know what that is. Or you could make a spear if this were longer. You could make a crossbow bolt. You could make, I don't know, improvised tent peg. There are many uses for a pointy stick. But after some work, that is what I have produced. A very anti-vampire equipment. Not a single vampire has attacked since I made this. Not a single one. Yeah, you'll hear that joke in many of my reviews. But it did well. It if you want to chop wood into useful shapes, sure. Here is the sheath. It's a pretty nice looking leather sheath. You see it has the belt loops there, and you saw it has a ferro rod holder. The retaining strap with a button closure. Pretty nice looking sheath. I mean, it reminds me of a leather sheath you'd have custom made. So final thoughts on this knife. I think it's a very solid knife for $65. You know, whether you consider it camp, survival, or bushcraft, that's up to you. You know, the bushcraft field is so crowded with designs that I don't think it can, probably can't compete that well with just the hundreds of other bushcraft labeled knives. But if you think of it as just a camp knife, I think that's on the right track. So yeah, I really like it for the price. I like the simple classic design. I like the blade shape. The country of origin possibilities don't bother me at all, whether it's made in UK or part of it was from Pakistan. I mean, if they're increasing their quality level over there to this level, then I'm all for that. I support that. So I will keep an eye on this company. They seem to have some gems if you cherry pick through their whole selection. Definitely. Hope you enjoyed seeing this knife. This has been We All Juggle Knives.